Sup, people? So in a previous life, or I should just say the past, I was a flawed weightlifter, and by flawed, I mean that I had the mindset and the habits of I'm going to lift really hard, and then I'm going to come home and sit around all day, and that sitting around was playing Dota and eating. Uh, I guess my weight went up, but my lifts went up. I guess that's a good thing. But anyway, I was becoming very stiff. I had a back injury at one point, and I was like, "What's going on?" Right? I'm getting stronger, but things were just not as smooth as they used to be. Um, I didn't realize that kind of all my athletic life, from like being a little kid, high school, college, I was doing things that kept me limber. Right? High school, played sports, also had a lot of PE, or would just like to play. Same in college, lots of walking, intramural sports, but all that time I was lifting as well, and which is funny because I didn't think like, oh man, walking to classes is going to take away my gains. I don't think I had this spell where I wasn't even walking that much because I was like, well, I need to recover, so let me just sit down all day. So, not advised. Um, then you could think, all right, well, you need to keep up some sort of general physical whatever, but there's so much to pick. It's like, what do you do? Are there principles you can apply to keep you limber? And the answer is luckily yes. So this is in a series of like the Primal workout. um, Before I start, I know there's a lot of options out there. There's like MoveNat. I'm going to talk about original strength because I discovered that first. It's been over like 10 years since I've discovered it. But the idea is that every person, from the time you're born, everybody does these same movements. Every baby does this without even being told. And they lead to you being able to walk. I guess it's a waddle first, but walk and then run and sprint, right? Now, all that stuff isn't, you know, it's gentle. It's not easy, but it's very core intensive, and it gets you to the point where you can do all this stuff. Because when you want to do stuff like play, right, just play, your core needs to be solid. There's a reason why kids can go out there and play hide and seek and tag and sprint. And it's not just because they're kids, it's because their center is strong enough to be able to handle that. Which is funny because as adults, when we go to exercise, we think, I need to do push ups, sit ups, pull ups, run. And by run, I mean jogging, right? Kids don't really jog for fun. But they also can't really do push ups. They can't pull themselves up. Setups are hard. And it's very interesting. They can do all these other things that we see as like play, but when we think of traditional exercise, they can't really do it. They're not strong enough for it yet. And I can say that because I have a couple of myself, and observing other kids in the neighborhood. It's like, well, they don't really can't really get on the ground and do push-ups. What they can do is original strength, and they can play harder than you. So the question is, how do we apply this to us? You just do this stuff in small bouts. I'll give a demonstration of each. One is breathing. It's not really much of a demonstration, but if you do this stuff on your off days, at night, honestly, when you're bored throughout the day, if you're in an office, maybe not. But if you're bored throughout the day and you need to like revitalize yourself, do this stuff. So let's go in order. First one is deep breathing. Like I said, I can't really demonstrate this. I can, but you're not going to see much. There are different positions for this, but the premise is that you keep your tongue on the roof of your mouth, like you're making an N sound, like Nintendo. You breathe only with your nose, as deep as you can, and that'll start working. Breathing with your diaphragm, because what happens when you get stressed out, you breathe up here. So not only does it relax you, but it retrains you how to breathe properly in training exercise, which is much more natural than mouth taping. I know that's all the craze, but seriously, if you practice breathing properly, you probably don't need to mouth tape. And from experience, I'll sometimes I'll breathe for 5 minutes before bed, and I sleep really hard. Interesting. So anyway, the breathing, you can do this anywhere. I'm going to do this from a rocking position because I like to squat. So very exciting. And if you're about to notice that, it's kind of relaxing me deeper into the position. So that's breathing is one. What's next? Then we have head control, right? Little kids, they look up all the time. And picking up their head, tummy time, is something they have to work on. So as adults, we need to work on reps because our heads aren't as heavy. Looking up as high as I can, down as far as I can. Again, you could do this on the ground. And as a lifestyle change, do this when you're watching TV. The next is rolling. Yes, rolling is part of your gait pattern. And again, kids or babies, rolling over is a milestone. And some of them use it to go places. So the idea here is you use one limb at a time, only using that limb. For some people, this is going to feel tight. Like we don't rotate enough as adults. It's like twisting in combat conditioning. You need to iron your spine out. I did upper body. You can do lower body as well. Next is rocking. Babies do this before they're able to crawl. And when you start doing this especially, you'll feel, okay, my hips it's kind of stiff here. I'm working my shoulders in this position. My hands are getting some mobility and strength. Same with my feet. Okay, and speaking of crawling, if you elevate this, you can really feel like, oh, okay, there we go. Now I feel what's supposed to be happening. And the last step is crawling. Now I'm in the baby position. You can crawl here. Excuse my garage lack of space, right? And I don't have a lot of space. But even if you don't have a lot of space, like you're in a hotel, if you go back and forth, if you did this for 10 minutes straight, breathing in your nose like we worked on, keeping your head up like we worked on, you're going to feel something. And don't discount it because it looks silly. Because a milestone is doing it for 10 minutes. Another milestone, which I am still working on, by the way, this is from Tim Anderson and Jeff Newport. But another milestone is being able to do that for 10 minutes straight, and then being able to do leopard or Spider-Man crawl for 10 minutes straight. Leopard is going to be knees track inside, probably the same way you baby crawled. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Spider-Man is going out here. And imagine doing that for 10 minutes straight. You heard my breath for a second. If you need to regress that means make it easier. Or if you need to figure out, what's opposite arm, opposite leg? Because I don't walk like that in real life, even though I should. You do the dead bug. Tailbone off the ground. It's easy version. Or a bird dog. Right. Now, none of the stuff is, in and of itself, is very hard, challenging looking. But the kicker is that since they're kind of like endurance core movements, you can do them for quite a decent amount of reps, and you actually need to in order to get anything out of it. But even if it's like the dead bug, if you do 20 reps of that, that's great. Crawling, if you did 5 minutes of that, that's great. Everything else I showed you, 10 reps. If you did 10 reps of each, that's a great start. You don't have to go crazy like Tim Anderson and crawl a mile, but you could if you wanted to. So why all this stuff? Like I said, there are other natural movement modalities. I just found this one, but it also makes sense to me because I feel like with a natural movement like animal crawling stuff, it's kind of an observation of like, oh, a human body kind of can do this stuff. This makes the most sense because this is our basic developmental sequence. It's kind of like with the barbell, right? You have certain movement patterns your body can do. Why not train those? Yeah, movement patterns you did as a little kid. Why not do those if you're quote unquote starting out or want to dust the cobwebs off? All right, so that is resetting your body. You can do this stuff anytime you want. Warm up, cool down, as a workout in and of itself. Give that stuff a shot. Like I said, 10 reps each. Maybe when you crawl, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then up to 10. That's about as much as you need. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Give that a shot. That is, what is that? The part 1 of the Primal movement workout. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.